The Union Square Farmers Market began with just a few farmers in 1976. It now has more than 140 food purveyors from all over the tri-state area. You'll find a wide variety of fresh products from local producers, from just-picked fresh fruits and vegetables to heritage meats and award-winning farmstead cheeses. You'll also find artisan breads, jams, pickles, a profusion of cut flowers, plants, wine, ciders, maple syrup, and much more. Located in one of New York City's great public spaces, the atmosphere at Union Square on a market day is electric. Much of the fare is organically grown or naturally grown, and all of it is local. Vendors at the market say that their farms have been preserved by the chance to sell directly to consumers and chefs. One of my favorite things to pick up at the market is apple cider. The market is open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
It's more about a positive invitation to be part of something. Okay? It's free, but it's also ambitious, because our ambition is to transform the food system, which is what we've got to begin to do with a sense of urgency that's often lacking from any political leader or movement. So we need to be ambitious. It's also about with, not for. So we're doing this with communities. We're not doing it for communities. We're not telling people what to do. We're creating a space and an invitation to take part. I think it's also about bringing consumers and producers together, because we work with a network of over 30 farmers and producers in the region. So there's something strong about the local economy, even in times of real austerity, when people want to support local producers. They want to be part of the local food revolution because they realise that it's tying in that local economy, and that's absolutely crucial, and is often listed as the key driver for people supporting local food. And then there's this other thing, this idea of your senses. I think it's a return to common sense. If you think of your senses and sight being the furthest away sense, you can see something in the far distance before you can hear it often. Then you can smell it, then you can touch it, but then ultimately you can taste it. So there's something intimate about eating together and tasting food and that sensation. But the key skill is moving away from this idea that we have endless choice. We have whatever we like, whenever we like it, to thinking, actually, no, we've got what's in our veg box, what's seasonal in my region. So that key sense of enough is something that's been very, very valuable, and the key lesson we've had to learn. When you enter a supermarket, you enter a space that's got about 55,000 items on display. And that's just in the crisp section. It's not really, but you have this huge array. You can have whatever you like. On the Fife Diet and similar, you have about 500 items on display through the year that you can choose from. But there's an anomaly and a paradox there, that it's a much more creative and liberating experience. So I think the idea worth sharing is that less choice is better, and moving away from this idea of endless consumption is actually going to be very liberating for us all.
But we all do need to go green, and one thing Warner Brothers is doing is they have a farmer's market here every single week on the lot, and holy petunias, there's a lot of free samples. Farmers markets are like a Costco for hippies. That's what they are. I could not believe how many free samples there were. It took me an hour to get past the hummus guy. Didn't even know you could have 37 varieties of hummus that he had me try every single one of them. There's that little tiny, tiny amount that you try. And that is the thing about the farmer's market. You can't just pop in and out like you do at a grocery store. People move at a grocery store. People move very slowly at a farmer's market. People are moseying past the rhubarb and looking at the different things. And if they're not moseying, then they're sauntering. And if they're wearing too much patchouli, they're frolicking. Going to the farmer's market is like walking into an old world bazaar. Everyone's selling their wares and offering you something. Try this, try that, try this, try this. This is a true story. One time, I was headed into a farmer's market, and I passed some olives, and then some fresh berries, and then almonds, and then mangoes, and everyone's trying to get me to stop. And then there's a young girl that came up to me and tried to get me to buy some gum, and she's like, chicle, 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 whatever. And I realized I had walked all the way to Mexico. I was in... Mexico. True story. And for some reason, there's always a guy giving out massages. No, thank you. If I want a back rub from a stranger in a crowded place, I'll ride the bus. I think it's important to support people who grow their own food. We should all strive to leave a smaller carbon footprint. Very important. I am always careful not to step into carbon. I don't want to leave the footprint.
Oh, this is how it starts.